Now we can see that this image looks horrible. Okay, does not have much contrast, and there are a couple different ways to fix this, and we're going to talk about the best way and the most advanced way. Now when you see an image like this that's kind of muddy and dull, there's a couple different things you can do. Sometimes with images, when they just don't look like the color is popping that much, you can just go to Image and choose Auto Tone. In CS3 it's called Auto Levels, and we can see that it did a pretty good job of fixing it up. Okay, but it didn't do a perfect job. It's still dark. It's not quite as bad as before. Here's before and here's after, so it helped, but it's not great. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my original. Just realize that you can automatically set the black and white points by using auto tone. It just doesn't always work perfectly, just like the auto balance doesn't always work, okay, or auto color for color balance or white balance. So auto tone automatically sets the black and white levels. On this image it's not working because we've got these little sections here throwing off our image, okay, because it's seeing this pure white and it thinks that that's part of the image is pure white. But it's not. This is actually a torn off part of the image, and it's the light of the scanner. So what we're going to do is I'm going to just go back to undo so I get my original kind of image here, and let's take a look at the advanced way to do this, and this will also help us understand how Photoshop works. We go to Image Adjustments and we're going to choose Levels. Now when we do that, we're going to get this image here, and this is called a histogram. And this is basically a bar graph that shows us how much of each value is in the image. So we can see that there's a lot of these kind of colors of gray in the image. Okay, this is most of the image is this shade of gray. And we've got values everywhere from basically this shade of gray up to about here. Now we also see it showing all of these, white values, and we see a big spike at the white. But again, that's probably just from this area right here in the image. So what we want to do is first of all understand how this graph works. In our images, the histogram should generally, for a well-balanced image, the histogram should generally stretch from one side all the way to the other. If it's not stretched from one side to the other, that means, like here, we see there's no blacks. Okay, so it's missing pixels in the dark area because it's just flat. There's nothing here. Over here on the right-hand side, it's really low, and you know what, it's essentially missing pixels in this light area as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to fix this image, and here's what happens when you do an auto levels. Photoshop takes the black little corner here and it drags it to the end of the mountain, okay, and you can see that that looks just like it looked before when we did auto levels. But what Photoshop doesn't do when we do auto levels is it's not going to move this white one because it sees that there are whites in the image. But we know that these are kind of false whites. These are coming from this tear and from this little rip up here in the corner. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag this over to the beginning of this side of the mountain, and we just kind of eyeball it and get it about where we want. Sometimes I also like to grab this middle piece here and just kind of tweak back and forth and just get the look exactly the way I want it. But the bottom line is that we want, in our histogram, we want the blacks to be at the edge here and the whites to be at the edge of the main part of the kind of mountain looking structure here in the middle of the histogram. Alright, at this point we go ahead and click OK, and now look at our image, right? It looks so much better than, wow, that's how we got it. This is what we've done already.